Hey, welcome back to the channel, y'all. I'm JB,
I'm Nada.
and we just went to go see Mickey 17. So let's
Let's
talk
talk
about
about
it.
it. All right, so before we get into the movie review, stop what you're doing, like this video, go ahead and do it, why not? Subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you get notified every time we have new videos uploaded, okay? But, babe, tell us about the movie.
Okay, so Mickey 17 was directed by Bong Joon-ho. He was responsible for the Academy Award-winning Parasite a couple of years ago. So you kind of don't see how it translates exactly. The main lead, Robert Pattinson, obviously from Batman, Twilight, all that stuff. And he's with himself. He's the other lead in this movie, since the movie's basically about him playing two different characters, which I think he does well. But yeah,
he does do a really good job with it. Okay, so let me just preface this by, we saw this movie right after we saw another movie, and we were excited about it. Well, JB was excited about it.
I had higher expectations.
Just like, sure, let's go see it. So we kind of, I don't want to say watched loosely, but didn't have, as it progressed, we had less and less enthusiasm about even reviewing it, honestly. He was sitting there like, do we want to talk about this really? And I'm like, hey, we got to do the good with the bad.
And like, I didn't hate this movie, but it just felt like as the movie progressed, my enthusiasm about it just kept going down. Because in the beginning, it felt narratively driven, and I was like, okay, this is interesting. He's gonna have multiple copies. They die.
So I mean,
and all
should we do spoiler, non-spoiler altogether?
I guess we can. Because him having a clone, that's in the trailer. That's not a spoiler. Sorry, that's why I said that. Yeah, because it's not a spoiler.
I was just wondering, but essentially, the movie is about a guy who is having some trouble, so he signs up to be a part of this program. He is an expendable in this program, and
he doesn't exactly know what that means.
No,
he just signs up for it because he's running from these people who he owes money to. Yeah, essentially.
And so essentially, they use him to test things, and anytime he might die or get hurt or whatever, that's okay because they just reprint another one of him out. And so the movie is essentially following that
each version of him.
Yes, kind of, sort of. But they get stuck on Mickey 17, right? And a lot of other stuff happens after that. That's what you think the movie is going to be about. Somewhere in there, halfway in,
it kind of went off the rails.
It did go off the rails. Go ahead.
Because, so I feel like for me, the part that made this interesting was the idea of him testing things, because that's something in real life. Things get tested. They make different sets of things. You'll do a test and then another test before something goes viral to the public, right? And so it was interesting to see that he was the person that they were using to do this, and that when he just died from some disease or some virus, they're just like, okay, we'll use your contaminated blood to make a antidote. And then they just reprint them. And so I'm like, that's a really interesting idea.
It was.
And so I thought they were going to go more with that, and there'd be some mystery with it. But it felt like about halfway through the movie, there was a time when they were just doing stuff that really didn't have a lot to do with the plot. And then there were many
subplots. There were so many plots. That
just opened up holes. And I was just like, how is this important to the film? He had a love interest. But then he had a second love interest, and they were trying to share the different Mickeys.
I guess we'll go through.
I don't know.
We'll go through a little bit.
Yeah, sorry, I'm jumping around.
All right. You don't have to go see this movie. You do not have to go see this movie. There's probably a niche for it. Because it got a 77.
On Rotten Tomatoes.
And
that's respectable.
So people liked it.
Yeah. And
we did not.
It could have been one of those higher art things that maybe like went over my head.
Maybe it went over my head. I just felt like there were just so many different things happening. It's like they had one idea, and if they would have stuck with that idea, that could have been interesting. Or this other thing popped up, and that could have been interesting. And then by the end of it, I don't know. The comedy didn't work for me.
Yeah, like there was supposed to be some comedy, like Mark Ruffalo.
Some things. He's probably like the main comedic relief.
Yeah, he's supposed to be this like villain of the movie, but he feels like a dollar store Looney Tunes.
He's supposed to be. I think they want him to be like that. And
and I'm like, okay, I can lean into the wacky when they're just trying to be wacky. But I think it was a little bit too far wacky. The one thing I do like, I will say Robert Pattinson acted his ass off because he made Mickey 17 and 18 feel completely different.
He did that very, very well.
He did it really well.
Maybe that's why people are also like rating it higher. Yeah. Because not just him. I mean, Mark Ruffalo in Ruffalo. Mark Ruffalo, his character was crazy.
Yeah, he was.
But did he lean into it completely?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, everybody had specific characters to play, and they played them well. Like everybody was acting.
Yeah, they were.
So I can give them points for that because everybody was acting. I just didn't like
the film as a whole.
Yeah.
I think like there was even
like what they were doing. I didn't like what script they were given.
And there was even a part where I can't remember her name, Mark Ruffalo's wife character. She goes on this sort of side tangent where she is cutting off the tails of the creatures in their trailers and in the movie, and she's like blending them up to like drink. And I'm like, is this going anywhere? Like what?
Weird.
But it was really weird because she would just bring it up in every conversation that she was had.
This main thing and I'm like, at the end that she wants to do. Like,
but it adds nothing to the story. It's just literally her own thing. I'm like, okay. That was really weird. And then even the crux of the reason why they ran to this organization and why they left Earth. They were running from mobsters. So they're like, the mobsters are like, we're going to chase you to the end of the Earth. And then they're like, okay, well, we're just going to leave Earth and go somewhere else. I'm like, okay, that's catchy. But they ran because they borrowed money for a failed macaroon store.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, what? I don't know. It just felt like random. It didn't. It was very random. It felt random.
It was very, very random. So I don't know. I think that might have hit like a tiny bit of spoiler, but I mean, okay, so what?
Yeah.
See it if you want to. I'm not saying go see it.
Yeah. This one's. I like Robert Pattinson as an actor. He's great. I even like Steven Yeun. He was also in this. He was more of a tertiary character. He wasn't really like a main. He was the guy in Nope, the cowboy in Nope, who was feeding the alien. But essentially, I like Steven Yeun too. Shout out to him for Invincible because he's the voice of Invincible. Yeah. But yeah, it was just okay. I was more disappointed. I think I was going into it expecting
he really
something different.
Thought it was gonna be super, super like interesting.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, yeah, we can go see Mickey 17.
Yeah.
But okay, that is our
complete synopsis,
of what we think about Mickey 17. Stop right here. We're gonna get a little bit more into some specific details that kind of bothered us. So if you do not want to know the ins and outs of the film, get off this video, go watch it, I guess, and then come back and let us know what you think, okay? But spoiler alert. Okay, so like we said, we kind of feel like there were tons of little subplots that they really could have built off of to make it an interesting movie. Like, you thought it was going to be us following like each of the different Mickeys a little bit, and you don't really get that. You get a montage of like all of the things that they experiment on him, which I thought would have been like a cool premise. But you get a montage of that, so you don't really get to even see all of the things that he goes through necessarily. In that montage, you get to see his like love interest and like how now she was down bad for her man. Whatever version of Mickey she was gonna get, she was gonna get. She was sticking beside him.
She was.
And she was like a cop, wasn't she?
Yeah, I think she had some kind of security role on the ship.
So yeah, they could have went that way. There was the whole loan shark thing. They could have maybe dove into that, like it happens at the beginning and then it comes back up at the end.
Yeah, so like weirdly enough, like in the middle, towards the end of the film, they're just like a loan shark caught up with them on the ship, and I'm like, but they're in the middle of space.
On a whole nother planet.
How did, they were in on another planet. I'm like, how did he find his way? How did he sneak aboard the ship?
It was just too much. He sent like some minion to come out and like
it was weird.
So that point didn't really follow through. They kept hinting about, like, what did they call it? It was the church, but then they called it the corporation or the company or something.
Those names were like synonymous. They kept calling
it. But they would accidentally say the church and they'd be like, oh, the company. And so I'm like, is this supposed to be a secret cult?
Yeah, like I thought there was more to that. Like, and if they had explored that, I would have been like, okay,
that would have been interesting to see. There was a whole rule about multiples and like why it was against the law to have multiples.
And just to bring this up, when we were talking about the beginning and the setup of the film with him like leaving Earth and him going to this being an expendable and this other planet, the whole problem becomes 17 gets printed out to go on a mission. They expect him to die, but 17 comes back after they've already printed 18. So at this time, both of them are there at the same time, and they're like trying to figure out what to do. But in this world, there's a law that says multiples cannot exist. Yes. Because there was and even that was interesting.
That's
the
what I was going to say.
There was a serial killer who I guess had the technology to reprint himself. And he was like going on murdering spree. And I'm like, and every time I guess they would kill one, he's still alive because he
had
printed
another one already printed.
That's actually, that could be a movie by itself.
It would have been interesting.
That would have been interesting. I would have been like, oh, okay. So, I don't know, like a crazed scientist who became a killer. I'd watch that.
So okay, and I know this isn't our like normal play-by-play of the movie, but it's just so much stuff happened. Yeah, it would be ridiculously long. Like, if I look at my notes, me writing out, I took 9. I'm on the 9th page, and I kind of stopped because he was just like, "Babe,
just stop.
Please stop."
Yeah,
because so many different things happen, and I'm like, I have to write so much stuff down just to try to remember all of the random points that took place. Yeah, but so Mickey 17 lives. 18 is printed. They're both alive, and they're like, well, one of us is gonna have to die. And Mickey 17 is coming to the realization where it's like, where he typically would just die and then that would be it. Now he wants to fight to be alive, you know, and so they have that whole little like thing where it's, you know, does he have the right to live or not? His girlfriend, hold on, let me take a step back. They were like randomly selling drugs. People were selling drugs on there. They were getting high off the little thing where they snorted. Like, just so many random things were happening. The girlfriend gets high. She's like, I want both of y'all. She trying to have a threesome with the 2 Mickeys. Other woman comes in and she's interested in Mickey now. And so then they talking about splitting them up. And you have this whole thing about the Mickeys. Then you have this whole other thing about these creatures. What did they call them?
What did they call them?
Creatures?
I don't know what they call them.
I'm looking to see. Anyway.
I can't remember what they call them.
At the very beginning, the creatures, they look like big roly-polies with like legs and like a weird mouth. And at the beginning, they save him. And so you would think that it's some scary thing that's going to kill him, but no, they saved him. So we already know, okay, they're nice, benevolent little creatures.
And y'all, they just got to this planet, okay? So by the end of the movie, which is, I think it's only like maybe a few days that they've been on this planet. Yeah. By the end of the film, the lead scientist has already made a translator.
Not even just by the end of the film. From the point that they find one in the rock.
Oh yeah, that's true. So that they find a small one, they capture it essentially.
And so now they know how to communicate with it.
And now they make, in like 1 or 2 days, I swear to God, it was so crazy. I'm like, on this alien planet, somehow you have like understood frequency or whatever. They made a whole device where we can communicate with them. Just that easy. I'm like, bro, what?
So I don't know. You have the Mickey points happening, and then there are these creatures that are there.
It's too much to follow.
They think that everybody on the ship, or Mark Ruffalo's character, the Marshall something.
Yeah.
He thinks that they're evil. He wants to kill them. They're not trying to kill them. So that takes up the second half of the movie. This not even real conflict with these creatures that aren't trying to harm them at all.
It's like he created a conflict because he's so egotistical. He just wants to
He's very narcissistic. He's into himself. He got the camera following him around. They made him look really funny.
Yeah. And again, I can lean into the wacky when it's trying to be wacky. If he wants to be a Looney Tune villain, that's fine.
What was up, even with the whole little like church company thing? They start hinting at like this perfect race of people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, are we getting into some Aryan race type? But then everybody wasn't even like that on the ship.
They weren't.
I don't know. In the middle of them trying to create this conflict with these creatures because they believe that the creatures want to attack them, right? When they landed, they got this rock. And they're like, we're going to etch everybody's names into this stone to say that we, took over Niflheim or whatever. They drill in the stone and one of the creatures comes out. One of the creatures ends up getting killed, and then there's another one that they keep, right? And so the critters on the outside, they just want the little baby back. Okay, that's all they wanted. That was it. And Mickey 17 is in the middle of trying to negotiate with them to stop hurting them and give the baby back, while also getting arrested, while also getting almost killed by the loan shark.
But see, at this point, I don't care. I checked out by that point to care about whether the baby live or die, I didn't care.
I mean, I didn't want them to burn up the little baby.
I didn't, but like the conflict, I didn't care.
The whole
that much.
thing, yeah. It was just, wonky. It was a lot, y'all. Yeah. It was a lot. So I don't know. Maybe it's just not our thing.
Yeah.
But if it's yours,
still check it out.
Check it out and let us know.
Tell us in the comments.
All right, what are you gonna give Mickey 17 out of 10?
I might give it a 6.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna give it a 6. One, I love Robert Pattinson. It's still above average. I didn't hate the film, but I think I was disappointed. And that added to my detraction of points.
Okay.
So I think I was looking for more, especially because Bong Joon-ho is a good director. So I was like, damn. So yeah, I think for me, I'm a 6.5. No, I'm gonna stick with 6.
I didn't like this at all. And so because I didn't like it, I want to give it a 4.
I mean, hey, you want to give it a 4?
But because everybody was acting.
They were acting.
Okay? They were acting. I'll give it a 5. I'll say it was just average for me.
Okay.
Am I ever going to watch it again? No. Would I put it on TV to go to sleep?
Maybe not. I wouldn't.
Y'all have stuff that y'all just put on to go to sleep?
Yeah, but that's called comfort food. That's like Friends.
Okay, so
that's like Friends, Family Guy, stuff like that.
Friends.
Yeah.
So
that's like
I'll give it a 5. It was all right. It was just weird. I don't know. I didn't really like it.
And we like weird, y'all. We like weird.
I'm okay with some weird.
Weird as Severance. Weird, but great. Lovecraft Country. Weird, but great. We like weird stuff.
It just didn't. Maybe there's just a specific, area or genre that we don't like. Maybe you do. So if you watch it, get in the comments. Just let us know what you think about it, all right? Thank y'all so much for watching.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll see you next time.
See you later.